Leading the Nightline tonight, Sarawak is taking another step forward in its green energy and sustainability agenda with the introduction of a gas-to-energy prototype at the Kuching Integrated Waste Management Park, KIWMP. Sarawak Premier Dato' Peninggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Dunopeng described the initiative as a creative and proactive approach to tackling the state's growing waste management challenges.
Well, he mentioned about 700 tons per day. Definitely with increase in population and increase in consumption, and the waste will be proportionately increased based on increase in consumption.
The current prototype is capable of generating up to 5 kilowatts of power, with potential for expansion as waste processing capacity increases in the future. This project will be spearheaded and managed by Sarawak Waste Management's Ndrian Berhad, which introduces this prototype as part of the state's initiative in supporting the state's circular economy agenda. It is able to transform solid waste to hydrogen and electrical energy. Meanwhile, Sarawak is also rolling out a new waste management law aimed at ensuring a more organized and sustainable approach to handling solid waste across the state. The legislation marks a key step towards securing a cleaner and more sustainable future for the state. The Premier cited Finland as a model country where it is able to generate income from efficient waste management.
Finland is really good in how they manage the waste. And they at times import waste. But I don't encourage for us to import waste. Otherwise, we cannot waste lain yang kita import. So we have to be very cautious here.
Additionally, Abang Johari mulls on the idea that the current technology is able to process waste into a new product. Hence, the government is actively upgrading state laws to accommodate to future revenue opportunities related to circular economy.
That is why we keep on upgrading our law. And in this particular case, we have our waste to management law ordinance. We have passed last year, and with that legal parameter, we can manage our waste for the future.
Preparations for the 2027 SEA Games in Sarawak are on track, with major infrastructure upgrades, including the Sarawak Stadium, set for completion by June next year. Sarawak Youth, Sports and Entrepreneur Development Minister Dato' Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah says all preparations are being closely monitored by the state government and remain on schedule.
Semuanya berjalan dengan baik. Hanya sedikit sebanyaklah apabila kita ada masalah di Timur Tengah, kos-kos barangan yang akan digunakan oleh kontraktor yang sudah di-award. Mereka kembali kepada kita untuk memohon ada pertimbangan dari segi kita akan menilai satu persatu dan tapi ini tidak akan menghalang acara perasmian dan juga semua acara-acara sukan yang akan diadakan di Sarawak, iaitu 17 sukan.
Karim also adds that while global factors, including geopolitical tensions in West Asia, have slightly increased construction costs, the situation remains under control and does not disrupt overall planning for the Games.
Saya percaya dia akan ada peningkatan sedikit. Tapi semua perkara ini kita akan bawa balik kepada Kabinet untuk kelulusan.
The 2027 SEA Games is scheduled from September 18 to 29, with the opening ceremony set to be held at Sarawak Stadium, with 17 sport events taking place.
With SUKMA 2026 seeing an initial postponement before the timeline was confirmed for August 15 to 24, questions are now being raised over planning, decision-making and the impact on athletes. Now joining us is renowned sports analyst Dr. Pekan Ramlee in Kuala Lumpur. Dato', from a sport management perspective, does the initial postponement decree signal a planning failure, or was it inevitable given external factors amid global geopolitical concerns? Could better contingency planning have avoided the reversal, Dato'?
Thank you for the interesting questions. For me, what I see from a sport management perspective, the proposed postponements of the 2026 Sukma Selangor Games, initiated by a decree from the Sultan of Selangor, appears to be a combination of unavoidable external factors and cost of hosting the games, and is difficult to justify. But I think a major factor with the decree from Tuanku Sultan Selangor for the proposed postponement is not the issue about current economic situation only, but maybe this is my personal opinion. I believe Tuanku feel more happier if the opening Sukma will be held at the new renovation Shah Alam Stadium as a new landmark for Selangor, which unfortunately is only set for completion until 2028.
How does the earlier period of uncertainty affect athletes' peaking cycles and mental readiness? Does that uncertainty harm the focus and motivation more than the physical training disruption itself, Dato'?
Uncertainty will disrupt premature peaking risk, especially coaches. Coaches will face challenge or at the tapering too early if it was cancelled, or missing the peak if they have back training. That was the dilemma. The uncertain situation will also disrupt training density and making it harder to implement the high density. Specific training required 3 to 4 months out. Other challenge is it will diminish focus, where athletes need a clear, unwavering target to foster top-tier focus to their event, and will reduce motivations and mental disruptions or goal disruptions to the athlete, and strain their professional life, which they are targeted to compete in August.
Lebanon bombed continuously that left residents with no accessibility to power and clean water. Peace talks now turns into a blame game. Iran blames US for excessive demands, and the US says it's quote-unquote willing to negotiate. Of course, this has been said by Donald Trump countless times, but has yet to materialize. More details, we have Yusuf Shukri on the case.
Thank you, Cheryl. Now, videos posted online showed the aftermath in the village of Debel. According to reports by Al Jazeera, locals cited Israeli soldiers destroying solar panels which were critical for powering the village's electricity and water systems. The post also described the Israeli military of vandalizing vital civilian infrastructure, calling it a violation. Now, there is no immediate comment from the Israeli military on this specific incident, and the video's caption labels the action as Israeli violence. Tensions in the West Asia continue to escalate, with diplomatic efforts stalled and economic ripples spreading globally. Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem has rejected Lebanon's planned direct talks with Israel, calling them a grave sin that could destabilize the country. He also said to categorically reject direct negotiations with Israel, and those in power should know that their actions will not benefit Lebanon or themselves. Qassem warned authorities against proceeding, saying such moves would only push Lebanon deeper into instability. Meanwhile, Iran has blamed the United States for the breakdown in negotiations. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says excessive demands by Washington derailed progress, adding that safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz remains a critical global concern. Araghchi blamed Washington for the failure of talks after landing in Russia as part of a whirlwind diplomatic tour, with direct negotiations between the warring parties seemingly at an impasse. The U.S. approaches, he adds, caused the previous round of negotiations, despite progress, to fail to reach its goals because of the excessive demands. Now, currently, Araghchi shuttled to and from mediators Pakistan and Oman on Sunday before heading to Russia, where he is due to meet President Vladimir Putin. Iran has long demanded Washington acknowledge its right to enrich uranium, which Tehran says it only seeks for peaceful purposes, but which Western powers say is aimed at building nuclear weapons. On the other hand, U.S. President Donald Trump says Iran can simply pick up the phone if it wants to negotiate as tensions escalate over the ongoing conflict. In efforts to negotiate an end to the two-month war, and stressed it can never have a nuclear weapon after Tehran said the U.S. should remove obstacles to a deal, including its blockade of Iran's ports. Hopes of reviving peace efforts receded on Saturday when Trump scraped a visit to Islamabad by his envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Global markets reacted swiftly, with oil prices rising more than 2% as the conflict between the U.S., Israel and Iran shows no signs of a resolution after 8 weeks. Benchmark Brent crude futures rose more than 2% to touch a 3-week high of $107.97 a barrel in Asia trade, stoking inflation worries and prompting traders to all but price out rate cuts in developed markets this year. But bond markets were calm ahead of central bank meetings in Japan, the US, Britain, Europe, Canada, and some emerging markets. While a ceasefire has frozen most fighting in the war triggered by US-Israeli strikes on Iran 2 months ago, markets are focused on the shuttered Strait of Hormuz, crossed by barely any ships carrying cargoes of oil and gas. Oil prices rose, the dollar inched higher, and U.S. stock futures wobbled lower in early Asia trade on Monday after U.S.-Iran peace talks stalled over the weekend, leaving Gulf shipping blocked. Now that's all the latest for now. We'll continue to monitor developments. Back to you, Cheryl.
All right, thank you, Yusuf, for the update earlier, and we'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. And now on to crime development. A tutor has been arrested by police for allegedly molesting 2 underage male students in an incident at an apartment in Kuching. Kuching District Police Chief ACP Alexan Nagachabu, in a statement on Monday, confirmed that a report was received from a 13-year-old victim at 5:12 p.m. on Thursday.
According to preliminary investigations, the victim and a friend had stayed overnight at the suspect's residence on April 24th to attend a tuition session conducted by the man. The incident is believed to have occurred at 3 a.m. the following day, when the suspect allegedly committed an indecent act by touching the genitals of both students while they were asleep. Acting on information received, a team of Criminal Investigation Division of the Kuching District Police Headquarters arrested the suspect, a 32-year-old local man, to assist in further investigations. Initial urine screening tests showed the suspect tested negative for drugs, while further checks revealed no prior criminal record. The case is being investigated under Section 14 of the Sexual Offences Against Children Act 2017. Police have also advised parents to remain vigilant in ensuring the safety of their children, especially when overnight stays outside the home are involved for educational purposes.
Right, get all the updates you need all in one app, as TVS Inspire brings you live updates on events, news and programs. Available now on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. TVS Inspire, world on your screen, whenever, wherever. Those are the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Cheryl Chamyoto. Thank you for watching and have a good night.